Welcome to the iVideo podcast. This episode combines two articles I posted on Substack. Those articles are Why Shoalhaven Council Can't Run Like It's Still the 1980s, Modern Governance Requires Modern Practices, published on the 18th of September 2025, and Setting the Record Straight, Shoalhaven's Financial Problems. The Current Council, Limited Reform, No Leadership on Councillor Costs, published on the 17th of September 2025. So with the magic of Notebook LM, here is a video summary of the articles referred to in the video as the source document.
All right, let's jump right in. There's a pretty fierce debate going on about the finances of Shoalhaven Council, and today we're diving into a source document that claims to set the record straight on how things got so bad. And this is really the big question at the heart of it all, isn't it? The source material kicks off by pointing out that in the local blame game, one particular council term, from 2021 to 2024, is often singled out. So let's see what this document has to say about that. So, right off the bat, the document we're looking at takes direct aim at that one core accusation, the idea that a single Green/Labor-led council is the sole reason for these deep financial problems. You can almost feel the frustration in this quote. The author makes it clear that their whole analysis is basically a response to online comments like this one. They're setting out to offer a completely different narrative, one they say is rooted in the council's financial history. Okay, so to really understand what's happening now, the source argues we've got to rewind the clock a bit. It points to what it calls these long-term structural failings that were in place way before that council term everyone's talking about. Wow, that's a huge number. And this is really the core of the document's argument. It claims that for years, going all the way back to 2014, the council had a structural deficit, basically spending way more than it was bringing in, to the tune of $25 to $35 million every single year. So the point here is that this wasn't some new crisis, but a long simmering problem. And on top of that, the document says that for 8 years straight, the council failed to properly invest in its own stuff. We're talking roads, buildings, all that essential infrastructure. It's kind of like not fixing a leaky roof. You can ignore it for a while, but the problem just gets bigger and way more expensive down the line. Here's another piece of the puzzle, according to the source. It alleges that about $15 million in potential income was just left on the table because of a rate hardback policy. In simple terms, they decided not to raise rates, which sounds good in the short term, but the argument here is that it seriously weakened the council's financial position long before things got really tough. So you've got these pre-existing financial weaknesses, this growing backlog, and then boom, the source says a series of unavoidable external shocks came along and created an absolute perfect storm. And look at this timeline. According to the document, this wasn't just one bad year, it was relentless. It was one crisis after another, starting with the bushfires and ending with a period that saw 15 declared natural disasters. You can just imagine the incredible strain that would put on any council's resources, let alone one that was already struggling. So, what does all that chaos actually do to the bank account? Well, the source makes a crucial point here. It says these external shocks had a direct and measurable impact, wiping out about $14.6 million in the council's ready cash, money that wasn't tied up in anything else. A huge hit by any measure. Okay, so with that picture of serious financial strain and nonstop disasters, the document shifts gears. It starts to draw this really sharp contrast between how two different council administrations dealt with the mounting crisis. And this is where the source draws a really clear line in the sand. It argues that the two councils had vastly different priorities. On one side, it presents the 2021 to 2024 council as focusing on transparency and holding the line on spending. And on the other, it claims the current council's first moves were to protect councillor pay and reject expense caps. And the document puts some hard numbers to this claim. It highlights what it sees as a major contradiction. At the exact same time, community services like public pool hours were being cut, the total annual cost for the councillor's chamber went up by about $33,000, a direct result, the source says, of that pay rise. But this analysis argues that this whole situation is about more than just budgets and balance sheets. The source claims the real issue is a fundamental clash between two completely different ways of running a local government. This quote really nails the central thesis of the document, doesn't it? The argument is that an old-school political style, one they describe as secretive and full of bluster, is running headfirst into modern expectations for transparency and real accountability. So what does this 80s political style actually look like? Well, the document lays it out here. It describes a culture of making big decisions behind closed doors, getting hostile when questioned, and generally treating the council chamber like a battleground for domination, not a place for debate. And here's the other side of that clash. The source argues that the community itself is different now. It claims that the residents of Shoalhaven in 2025 are better informed, they have new tools like GIPA requests to get information, and they're just not willing to be dismissed or kept in the dark anymore. And really, that brings us to the final big question the document leaves us with. It suggests this story isn't just about Shoalhaven. It's a case study for a challenge that towns and cities everywhere are facing. How do you make sure local government actually keeps up with the expectations of the people it's supposed to serve?
So there you have it. Thank you for watching the video. I will try and get one out each week. Till next time, keep your eye on the Shoalhaven Council. This is Steve Prothero.